Good evening, and welcome to Shh Productions Vintage Radio Hour. Our collaboration with over 50 outstanding performers and technicians from across the country, and a legacy of audio entertainment that harkens back to the golden days of radio, brings you a second season of 12 shows filled with suspense, mystery, fear, and maybe a little murder. The upcoming show, The Scarlet Plague, originally airing in 1954 and adapted from the Jack London novel, features Nick Martin, Vinnie Mason, Geoff Nelson, Bob Clark, Hannah Portmann, Julianna Ziegler, Brent Jones, Molly McAllister Ziegler, Rick Clark, Scott Nichols, and Emmy Beach, in a tale that may sound like a frightening example of art imitating life. Or should I say death? Stay tuned after the show for the second part of our doubleheader, The Dead Laugh, starting at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Now, shh.
You are alone in a world of decay and desolation, looking down on what was once a great city, while coming slowly to meet you, her hands stretched out in greeting to you, is a beautiful girl whose very existence may be the cause of your death.
I am recording this only for myself, for my own sanity, perhaps even from some age-old sense of duty, for I have not the slightest hope that it will ever be heard by any living human being. I was at one time a professor of English literature in the great university at San Francisco, Professor James Smith, a man who believed in reason and intellect, and who abhorred the instincts of animal nature, but that was before the terror and the madness of the Scarlet Plague. This morning, I killed a sheep with my bare hands, then squatting on the ground, I tore a haunch of my prey and ate it raw. It began simply. On a Monday morning, as I recall, I was having breakfast at the counter in the campus cafeteria with Bill Dombey of the physiology department. He was glancing over the front page of the morning paper.
I don't know why I do it, Jim.
Do what?
Buy a paper every morning. Nothing changes but the date. Senator so-and-so back in Washington after whirlwind tour. Love nest killing in Omaha. New bomb test at Enowetok scheduled for early next month.
What's that item down at the bottom?
Where?
Down in the corner. New York fights Scarlet Plague.
Some news reporter's pipe dream, I suppose. 9 persons have died since last evening of a strange malady which has left doctors at Manhattan hospitals admittedly baffled. The disease, if it is a disease, strikes without warning and slays its victim in less than an hour. Apparently, the first symptoms are a feeling of well-being and lightheadedness, accompanied by a slight rise in temperature. A few minutes later, a fiery red rash appears on the hands and face and spreads rapidly over the entire body. Within 10 to 30 minutes, the victim goes into coma and dies. God, this is ridiculous. There's no disease that acts like that. It's food poisoning, something like that.
Please, Bill, I'm eating.
Medical authorities are unanimously agreed, however, that no general danger exists and that there is no cause for public concern or alarm. Which is double talk for, we don't know what it is yet.
What about a mutation?
Mutation of what?
Well, how do I know? You're the physiologist.
Well, you're talking about those scare stories, I suppose. Harmless virus or bacteria mutates and throws down some new deadly type. Antibiotics won't touch it. Medical science helpless. Million people wiped out overnight.
It's a possibility, isn't it?
Oh, Jim. Bacteria strains are always mutating, and usually the mutation is less harmful than the parent. That idea has been overworked for years. Pass the cream, please.
Oh, sure. Bill,
Hmm?
is it not a possibility?
Yes, it's a possibility. Hey, you're stalling, Jim. That rook's the only piece you can move, and you know it.
Don't rush me. I've got the clean back here now. Please,
And here is the latest development on the Scarlet Plague.
Oh, the Scarlet Plague. I wouldn't move that if I were you.
The following statement was released a few minutes ago by the director of the Bureau of Public Health. Up to this hour, the official death toll in Greater New York is 321 persons, in Boston, 94, Washington, D.C., 111, and Chicago, 181.
Spreading like wildfire.
Yeah.
Medical men throughout the nation are working around the clock. It is expected momentarily that the causative agent of the disease will be isolated and an effective treatment prescribed. Meanwhile, stay home and stay calm. We return you now to dance time.
Turn it off, Jim.
How can it spread so fast?
It's hard to tell, not knowing the period of incubation, whether it's airborne, contagious by contact, how long it's contagious before the symptoms show up. Not even knowing what it is, in fact. One thing's sure, though, something's got to be done and fast.
I guess we can call ourselves lucky out here. There hasn't been a case reported in San Francisco.
No, not yet.
When all the breathers of the world are dead, you still shall live. Such virtue hath my pen, where breath most breathes, even in the mouths of men. Now, I did not choose that particular sonnet because of possible contemporary suitability, but because it does, I think, best keynote the transitional phrase that later appears in the philosophies and the poet. Is something wrong back there?
Mr. Smith?
Yes, what's the trouble, Miss Baxter?
Look at her face! It's the Scarlet Plague!
Now, wait. Morley, Everett, wait, give me a hand here. Miss Wilson?
Professor Smith! Look at my hand! My arm is all red!
Now, Miss Wilson.
I feel so strange, cold and numb. I'm dying! Everyone who gets it dies! I'm only 19 and I'm dying!
There.
When all breathers of this world are dead, you...
Now it's in San Francisco. I sat for a long time in an empty classroom, paralyzed by shock, by a strange fear I'd never felt before, the fear of the unknown. That girl had walked into my class smiling and talking, and now she lay dead at the back of the room. Why? How could it happen so suddenly? What had caused the plague? Where had the terror started, and where would it end? I went to the faculty club. Bill Dumby was listening to the latest reports.
The latest reports from around the nation include the following figures. Greater New York, Estimated 184,000 deaths. Philadelphia, estimated 150,000 deaths. St. Louis, estimated 83,000 deaths. And Chicago, one moment, please. A bulletin has just been handed to me from London. The Scarlet Plague is raging in Europe. Unofficial reports from Russia estimate the death toll in Moscow at 180,000, with additional millions dead and dying throughout the Soviet Union and China. News bulletins will be broadcast whenever they are received for as long as our facilities last. And we don't.
No word of any cure yet?
Oh, Jim, I didn't hear you come in.
Yeah, I just walked across campus. It's completely deserted.
Yes, just the faculty club here is the only holdout, and at that there are only 4, counting you. Myra Blake of Graphic Arts. She went over to her room to pack some keepsakes. She'll be back. Dr. Barnes is out in the kitchen trying to rustle up something to drink.
Bill, that girl died in my class a while ago. 1 minute she was all right, and a minute later she was dead.
Well, it's fast. That's one thing.
Can you get it from contact? I mean, I lifted her head and put some books under it.
Nobody knows how you get it. I don't suppose contact matters much. Couldn't be all contact, not millions of cases in less than 48 hours.
Well, why can't they find a cure? They've had 2 days now. What are they all doing?
Dying, Jim, like everybody else.
Zombie? Smith?
Oh, Dr. Barnes.
Here, maybe this will help.
Scotch?
Why not? There's a whole case of it out there. I think it might be a good idea to keep that radio on.
Yes, you're probably right, Dr. Barnes. Technicians, engineers, they've died by thousands all over the country. How much longer can services like radio, telephone, transportation go on?
It's been issued a few minutes ago. All conveyances, regardless of ownership or occupancy, are being stopped and turned back at Army control points. So stay where you are. Do not attempt to travel. You are no safer in one place than another. The plague is everywhere. Repeat, the plague is everywhere.
It won't stop, and they still try to run.
Yes, anywhere, just as long as it's somewhere else.
The statement also reiterates the earlier claim that the Army has not mutinied. Repeat, the Army has not mutinied.
It must be getting rough out there.
The statement was signed by Edmund C. Dover, Senate member and acting President of the United States, and by the Joint Chiefs of Staff. In a bulletin just handed to me, Johns Hopkins regretfully states that Dr. Ivan Ziegler, who had earlier announced partial success in identifying the causative agent of the plague, has just died.
Ziegler?
Though Dr. Ziegler left no notes on his work, hospital personnel continue to...
What happened to the lights?
Power failure, I guess. It was bound to happen sooner or later.
There's a flashlight in that desk drawer. Yeah, I got it.
And there's a portable radio with batteries in the game room.
Oh, let's leave it for the moment, Dr. Barnes. Yeah, the liquor sounds better than the news.
Well, in that case... I wonder what's keeping Miss Blake. She was coming right back.
Hey, wait a minute. What's that light coming from? Where's it coming from?
Looks like a fire.
Maybe we can see from the windows.
It's not one fire. It's 1,000 fires.
Down there toward the bay. Berkeley, Oakland, and over in the city. Why? What started them?
Let's get this window open. Can't you hear why, Jim?
Gunfire.
Yes.
Yeah. They're not waiting for the plague to do the job.
No, they're already out in force. The looters, the maimers, the robbers, people with a hate and a grievance.
If it's already started, it's going to get a lot worse.
Oh, yes, it'll get worse.
We stood at that window of the faculty club looking out across the campus, down over the hills toward the bay, where the fires lit up the growing night, and where even fiercer fires of greed and lust and hate burned in the hearts that were beating their last hours or even seconds of life in this world. For a world was dying at our feet, and though we had so far been spared, we knew we too were dying with it.
Contact is still being maintained with Buenos Aires, and since London Overseas went silent a few minutes ago, this is now our only contact outside continental North America.
Makes you know you're alone, really alone.
Yes, it does.
We are at present able to maintain contact with only 2 stations in this country, Washington and Chicago. The West Coast has been silent for some 30 minutes, and we do not know whether we're being heard even there at this time.
Oh, this is unbelievable. It's a crazy dream. It can't be happening.
At the moment, we are waiting for word from Washington naming the new president of the United States to replace Edmund C. Dover, who died on the Senate platform while attempting to conduct the...
Yeah. What's the use?
Well, are we still agreed on leaving?
We must. If by some miracle we do survive, we'll be out of food here in 3 days. Tonight may be the last chance to find any. They're probably looting every store in the Bay Area.
Grocery stores, liquor stores, jewelers, fur shops.
Yeah, now the more reason to get started.
Right. If we can make 3 or 4 trips with a station wagon tonight, we ought to be set here for quite a while. What about those pistols, Dr. Barnes? You said there were a couple in the safe?
Yes, yeah, I'll go get them.
It's funny how things are changing. He was chancellor of this university. Now he's foraging for food.
Yes, well, I'll gas up the station wagon and get it over here so that we can load up.
Is anyone here?
What?
Jim, turn that flashlight on the door.
Myra?
Oh, Jim, thank heaven you're still here.
Oh, Dr. Barnes was worried about you, Myra. He just went to the other room. I'll tell him you're here.
All right, Jim. Oh, I was afraid there might not be anybody here. I was hurrying to get back, and I caught my heel on the edge of the walk, and I fell. I think I hit my head.
Tripped and fell. The whole world dying, and you trip and fall.
Yeah, I guess it is funny.
Myra, Bill.
What is it?
What's wrong?
Dr. Barnes is lying just outside. Dead.
Plague?
Yes. But he got the pistols. Here.
Thanks. Do you know how to use one of these, Jim?
Yeah, in a general way. Well, we better get started, Bill. We shouldn't be too long, Myra.
You're not going to leave me here alone.
She's right, Jim. I wouldn't want to be left alone either.
All right, let's go. We tried the Oakland docks first, the big food warehouses along the railroad tracks. It was a dead end. From a mile away, we could see the blaze towering into the night sky. The whole dock area was in flames. We swung the station wagon back onto the ramp and headed across the Bay Bridge toward the city itself, fighting our way in and out of the jumbled traffic and the terrified crowds on foot, turning and twisting among the dead and the dying.
Whoa, we better go back, Bill. This is getting worse every block.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to get a chance to turn around.
There's an alley over there by the hotel. Maybe you can edge in there.
Okay, worth a try anyway.
Oh, look out, Bill!
Hey! Watch for who you're bumping into.
Sorry.
I ain't taking a push around from nobody. Not anymore, you understand?
I told you I was
That's on
sorry.
account of what I got. Take a look at a 45, wise guy.
All right, now there's no need to get...
Oh, be careful, Bill. He's drunk.
Look closer. You can see the bullet coming out. Watch now.
No! No! Oh, no!
Yeah, I bet he saw it all right. I bet he got a real good look before he...
He's crazy, Myra. Come on, hurry. We got to get out of here.
Oh, what about the other men?
We'll leave the car. Come on, out this side. This way, Myra, the hotel entrance. Out of the way. One side. Step aside.
Oh.
All right. Come on.
Oh, what can we do, Jim? They saw us come in. They'll be after us any second.
The stairway, there, next to the elevators. Hurry, Myra.
Okay.
Maybe we can find a room, someplace to hide, in case they come up the stairs.
Oh, try that one, Jim.
All right.
People!
Hey, look! We got more guests!
Sorry, we,
Come on in and live!
Hey, come on!
That's what all of us are doing, living while we're dying.
A party!
Come on in. We got plenty to eat, plenty to drink, 50 pounds of diamonds, tons of money, lots of women, and not a worry in the world.
Come on, Myra, let's go.
Sore heads. Come on, Letty. Open another bottle. There's not much time.
Okay, boy.
Jim, where can we go?
Well, the hotel's about 12 or 14 stories high. The elevators aren't working. I doubt if anybody bother us up on the top floors. They wouldn't have a reason to come up there. You want to try it?
Oh, all right, Jim.
All right, let's go. For 5 days, we stayed on the top floor of the hotel, and no one came up to bother us. Twice, with pistol in hand, I left Myra in the room and slipped down into the streets to forage for food and supplies. Gradually, over the days, I saw the mobs diminish, thin out, as the Scarlet Plague continued to rage unchecked. Then finally, on the 6th day, I brought Myra down from the room to see what had happened to the city.
There's not a person in sight, Jim. No one but us. Not another living soul as far as the eye can see.
Listen, there's not a sound.
It's a dead world. Oh, but there must be others, Jim. Not just us. They're hiding. We'll take the car and drive and look for them. There must be others.
But she was wrong. We drove for 100 miles, all over the city and the countryside around it. And when we finally stopped on a hill above the bay, we knew that there was not another living soul in the whole city. We were the only human beings left in San Francisco, and most likely, the only ones in the entire world.
Oh, but why, Jim? Why us and no one else?
I don't know why. I don't know why any of this. It's just too vast to begin to comprehend. But we're alive. That's the only thing that's certain. We're both alive. To be alone, to be the only living human in the world, it means terror, absolute terror and insanity.
I feel guilty somehow. Being alive when everyone else is dead.
Now, there can't be any guilt when you don't have a choice. It was nothing we did. Besides, Myra, don't you see what it means? Since we've been spared, mankind itself has been spared. And civilization. We'll have children. We'll teach them. See that they remember and pass on the greatness of the past.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Together, we can do it. We can give mankind another chance. You and I, Myra, we can keep it from being lost forever.
Okay.
Together, everything's different. There's a new hope, something to live and work for. We.
What's wrong, Jim?
Myra.
What?
Your face. It's turning scarlet.
Thank you to our wonderful performers and to our brilliant production manager, Barb Shoulders, and to you, our audience, for christening our second season with us. We hope you enjoyed the show. Stay tuned for the second half of our doubleheader, The Dead Laugh. Most of the 7 deadly sins rear their ugly heads in this shocking tale. That episode is coming up at 9 o'clock. And we have another doubleheader next week. So tune back in and... shh.